I think over the years, I have, I speak less and less about the inner critic, because I think it makes more sense about speaking about inner criticism. Uh, because if you speak about the inner critic, you're talking about like sort of one inner entity that is criticizing you. But this inner entity seems to change its mind all the time, right? It seems like a very confused entity. And I think that it is, I think there's another model that you can use to understand it that makes more sense. Now, imagine that you, instead of thinking just superego and ego, like two parts and that's it, that you have like a multitude of inner parts. You have many inner personalities. You have a part of your personality that is, has an agenda about authenticity. That's important to it. You have another inner part, and it doesn't care about authenticity, but it cares about um, avoiding conflict, like having nice connections with others, not arousing other people's anger. Now, these two parts, sometimes you will be merged with or identified with one, sometimes you will be merged with and identified with the other. When you are merged with the one that wants to avoid conflict, the one that cares about authenticity is your inner critic. But when you are merged with the other, the authenticity part, then the part that wants to avoid conflict becomes your inner critic. I don't know exactly what it calls you, but you probably recognize the moment when you want to do things your way because that's authentic. Maybe there's an inner critic going like, you are too aggressive. And I think when you look at it in this way, then it becomes more a matter of that inner criticism becomes a way that your inner parts speak to each other. And yeah, it becomes like an inner culture, you can say. And I think disengaging from inner criticism is a lot about inner cultural change. So you have these two parts and they don't like each other because they're, one has an agenda of authenticity, the other an agenda of avoiding to arouse other people's anger. And they will keep criticizing each other unless they start giving each other space and getting curious about, why do you want to be so authentic? Why do you want to avoid other people's anger? Maybe those things are methods rather than end goals. And as your inner part starting getting curious about each other, maybe you will see, well, authenticity in itself isn't the thing, but when you feel very authentic, when you do stuff that's very authentic, maybe you start having a particular inner felt sense. Like when you do something that's very authentic, maybe you feel yourself, you know how it is, it feels good, right? When you can call yourself authentic, it feels, maybe, I don't know, radiant, maybe you feel radiant, maybe you feel expanded, maybe you feel something like that. And this is what you want. That part of you thinks authenticity is the method that it implies in order to get to an essence, in order to get to a felt sense state. If you were authentic but didn't get to that state, you wouldn't be happy about your authenticity. And the part that want to avoid people's anger might have an issue with the way that the other part goes about trying to be authentic, but will probably not have any issue with the wish to reach for and feel the end goal, the essence, the felt sense state. And when this kind of stuff is clarified, your inner parts will start not criticizing each other so much. They will start seeing that their disagreement is about method, not about destination.